What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today I have an amazing combination of Decidueye EX and Greninja in Pokemon TCG Pocket. In this video, I'll go over the deck build, which is on the left hand side of the screen. I'll talk about why each of these cards is in the deck, why they're an amazing combo together, and why you should check this Decidueye EX and Greninja deck out as well. Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon TCG content. I do a bunch of other video games, so feel free to check those out as well. Without further ado, let's talk about this deck build. First, you want to note, as you're watching this clip, you're probably already noticing it, is that I run this deck with both water and grass energy. There are a lot of variations of this Decidueye EX and Greninja deck. Some players just like to run with just grass energy. I've found that I like running with both water and grass energy. Reason for that is it gives you multiple ways to win. There may be a game where Decidueye is buried at the bottom of the deck. You're going to need Greninja to win, and that means you're going to need a water energy. So let's just talk about Greninja and the Greninja line first, and then I'll talk about Decidueye and the rest of the deck. So Greninja, for 1 water energy, 1 colorless energy, you have Miss Slash, which deals 60 damage. But that's not the bread and butter of Greninja. The bread and butter of Greninja is going to be its ability, which is why it pairs really well with Decidueye EX. Water Shuriken. Once during your turn, you may do 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now that's absolutely amazing. You can pick and choose what Pokemon you want to deal damage to. Could be the active Pokemon, it could be a Pokemon on the bench. Regardless of the Pokemon, you can deal 20 damage to it. So that's going to play huge into pairing well with Decidueye EX. Now on top of that, like I said, with the water energy in the deck, it does give you an opportunity to attack with Greninja. If you opt for just grass energy, you can't attack with Greninja because Greninja is going to require 1 water energy and 1 colorless for Miss Slash. But I found there have been opportunities or times that my Decidueye EX is buried at the bottom of the deck, and if I didn't have that water energy, I would lose. But because of that water energy, my Greninja was able to take the battle for me, and I didn't actually need Decidueye to win. So now with Greninja, which I'm going ×2, I'm going to go with Frogadier, which evolves into Greninja, only ×1, and that's going to be because of rare candy that I'm going to talk about in a second. But that Frogadier Water Drip for a colorless energy, which is really nice. You can attach a grass energy on it to attack. Water Drip for 30 damage. And then Froakie, which is the basic of this line, deals flop 10 damage for 1 colorless energy. And you're going to find this Greninja line in the Genetic Apex Charizard packs. So if you are looking for these 3, open up those Genetic Apex Charizard packs and you're going to be able to find them. Now let's talk about the Decidueye EX line. Decidueye is absolutely amazing, especially when paired with Greninja. It has 2 different attacks. The first is basic, Razor Leaf. 2 grass energy for 80 damage. That's pretty straightforward. The bread and butter of Decidueye EX, though, is going to be Pierce the Pain, and this is going to be where Greninja comes into play. Pierce the Pain, this attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has damage on it, and that's 2 colorless energy. So it doesn't matter if you have a water energy, a grass energy, 2 water energy, 2 grass energy. As long as you have 2 energy, you're going to be able to deal 100 damage to any opponent's Pokemon that has damage on it. And that's where it pairs really well with Greninja. We just talked about Greninja's ability that deals 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So as long as you have Greninja on the playing field, and you have Decidueye EX coupled with 2 of any energy in that active slot, you can damage any opponent on the battlefield. So Greninja going to deal 20 damage to whichever Pokemon you want Decidueye to attack. Then Decidueye, Pierce the Pain, is going to do an extra 100. So you can deal 120 damage in one turn to any Pokemon your opponent has on the playing field. This is going to be crucial to winning battles. Perhaps your opponent has a Pokemon on the bench that they're trying to hide, that they're trying to build up energy or trying to evolve. You're going to have the ability to take out that Pokemon prior to that Pokemon getting into the active slot and dealing damage to you. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic and an absolute great combination. So again, that's why these two are great. Now, if you do want Decidueye EX, you're going to have to look in the Celestial Guardians Lunala packs for that. Now let's talk about the evolution chain. You're going to have Dartrix for 1 Leaf Energy. It's going to deal 30 damage. You're going to find it in that Lunala pack as well. And then I have 2 Rowlets. Skill Dive, and there are 2 different Rowlets in the game right now. I'm putting the one with Skill Dive in this deck, and there's a reason for that. For 1 Grass Energy, this attack does 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is pretty important. If you don't have your Greninja and you do attack with Rowlet, you can attack any opponent Pokemon on the battlefield. So you can attack a Pokemon on the bench, you can attack a Pokemon in that active slot. It doesn't matter, you can attack any Pokemon that you want on the opponent's playing field. So that can set up your Decidueye EX just like Greninja can, where you can attack any Pokemon, as long, of course, as the opponent doesn't heal. But as long as you do have that 1 Grass Energy on Rowlet, you can do 10 damage to any Pokemon, setting up your Decidueye Pierce the Pain that can deal 100. So that's why I go with this Rowlet. You're not forced to attacking the Pokemon in that active slot if you want to attack a Pokemon on your opponent's bench. So that's why I go with that Rowlet. Now let's talk about something that's extremely important, Rare Candy. For those of you who don't know, Rare Candy, choose one of your basic Pokemon in play. If you have a Stage 2 card in your hand that evolves from that Pokemon, put that card onto the basic Pokemon to evolve it, skipping the Stage 1. You can't use this card during your first turn or on a basic Pokemon that was put into play this turn. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. You can skip Dartrix, you can skip Frogadier, and you can evolve very quickly into either your Decidueye EX or your Greninja, getting them onto the playing field quicker. So Rare Candy is going to be crucial for this deck, and it's really going to get your Pokemon into play as quickly as possible, allowing you to deal quick damage to your opponents and defeating them before they can defeat you. So this is going to be awesome and a crucial card to this deck. Now, some of the other cards that I like in this deck, two sets are very obvious. Pokeball and Professor's Research. Pokeball, you put a basic Pokemon in your hand. Professor's Research, you draw 2 cards. Those are 2 basic cards that are pretty much in every deck. It allows you to get through your deck quicker, getting the cards that you need. Something that I didn't mention is that Rare Candy, you are going to find that in the Celestial Guardians packs. Either or, doesn't matter whether it's Solgaleo or Lunala, you can find the Rare Candy in either of those. So if you're looking for the Rare Candy, that's where it's going to be, the Celestial Guardians packs. Now let's talk about a couple of the remaining cards that I have in this deck. The first is going to be Poison Barb. I like Poison Barb. It's nice. You poison a Pokemon that deals damage over time, unless, of course, your opponent either brings them back onto the bench, evolves them, or uses some form of healing that removes a status condition. But Poison Barb is nice because it's going to get damage onto the active Pokemon. And again, like I said, unless your opponent clears it, that damage is just going to continue to build up over time. Your opponent of course, if they do decide to heal and they don't have a healing of a status condition, it's just going to continue to eat away at them over time. Whereas if you do have Rocky Helm, which is another suggestion if you don't want Poison Barb, if they heal from Rocky Helm, they could say, you know what, I just healed from Rocky Helm, I'm at full health. Decidueye doesn't have the required leaf energy or grass energy on it to attack with Razor Leaf, so I'm just not going to attack. I'm going to build up Pokemon on my bench until I can take out that Decidueye. So I do like having Poison Barb so it can just eat away at my opponent over time. If I do have to switch out my Decidueye to allow that poison to just continue to eat up, or if I do get defeated in battle where I do have Poison Barb equipped, regardless of who I had it equipped on, it's still going to eat away over time if my opponent doesn't address it. Where Rocky Helm, it's only doing damage in the moment. As soon as my Pokemon gets taken out, that Rocky Helm goes away. It's not going to eat over time. So that's why I like Poison Barb. But if you want to throw in Rocky Helm in there, that's probably going to be okay too. You just want to get some damage on your opponent. So if you don't have damage on your opponent, and you don't have that required grass energy on your Decidueye, you can deal damage with Pierce the Pain. Now, I do have one Pokemon Communication in there. Of course, Pokemon Communication, you choose a Pokemon in your hand and switch it with a random Pokemon in your deck. This can allow you get to Pokemon quicker, whether it's your Decidueye, your Greninja, whatever Pokemon you may need. This can help you exchange a Pokemon in your hand in the deck and hopefully get the Pokemon you need. Pokemon Communication is going to be in the Space-Time Smackdown Dialga packs. Poison Barb is going to be in the Celestial Guardians Lunala packs if you are looking for that. Last but not least, I have Lily, and I do like Lily in this deck because it's going to heal up either Decidueye or Greninja. And Lily, what it does is heal 60 damage from one of your Stage 2 Pokemon. So that's going to heal a huge amount of damage regardless of the Pokemon you're healing. Of course, Decidueye EX has 170 HP, so healing 60 is a huge amount. And then Greninja only has 120 HP, so if you do use it on Greninja, you use Lily on Greninja, you're going to heal half of its HP. So that's pretty crucial to the survivability of both of those cards. So I do like having a Lily in this deck. Now, if you want to exchange, maybe you want two Pokemon Communications because it's going to make it easier for you to pull cards, or you want two Lilies because it's going to increase the survivability, that does work as well, but I do like having one of each. Now, this is the deck combination that I love. Again, I have the two energy. I have water energy and I have grass energy because I like attacking with both my Decidueye EX and my Greninja. Going with just grass energy is only going to give you one way to win. You have to get your Decidueye out there and you're going to have to deal damage with your Decidueye. Greninja, if you do not have water energy, you're not going to be able to attack with it. I found that having the multiple energies, there have been games that I've won with Decidueye EX. There's been games that I've won with Greninja. It's very crucial to winning games multiple ways is having that dual energy. Again, Decidueye, as long as you are able to deal some damage to your opponents, can survive without any grass energy. You're just going to hopefully have to have Greninja in play. Maybe you need the Poison Barb on you so you can deal damage to your opponent. But either way, Decidueye can survive mostly without grass energy. You're just going to need that Poison Barb or Greninja. Whereas if you don't have water energy, Greninja cannot survive. It's not going to survive just dealing 20 damage every turn. Your opponent is going to get a Pokemon that's going to deal a lot of damage. So I like having the dual energy. It does give a way to win multiple ways, and this is a great deck combination. Rare Candy is extremely important to getting your Pokemon, your Stage 2 Pokemon, out onto the playing field as quickly as possible so you can start dealing that extreme damage. Pokeball Professor's Research are obvious. It gets you those Pokemon from your deck quicker. And of course, Lily is going to be there to increase the survivability. But this is a great deck combination. It's extremely fun. Of course, it does rely a little bit on luck running 2 energy. and sometimes your Decidueye, your Greninja, sometimes they get buried at the bottom of the deck. So sometimes you're wading through getting those Pokemon out. Your Decidueye is going to be the bulk of your damage. You're going to be dealing 100. Hopefully coupled with your Greninja is 120. So that's going to be how you're dealing the bulk of your damage, is that combination. But you could still win either way. So let me know in the comments section what you think of this deck combination. Do you run Decidueye and Greninja with 2 energies, water and grass, or do you just run it with grass energy? Let me know in the comments section. What would you change about this deck? I'm also curious to know. Let me know in the comments section. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, peace.